What's up everyone, this is Spooky, and I'm here with a special Zenless Zone Zero video. I'm very excited this time to talk to you about Hoshimi Miyabi. This is going to be an in-depth guide with lots of new information for you. But before I get too into it, I want to let you know that this content comes from the content creator beta server. That means that things could be different than what I tell you in the final game. Whether you're a new player who's checking out Zenless Zone Zero for the first time, or a hardcore grinder who's excited about another powerful agent to add to their roster, Miyabi is going to add tremendously to your account. The Void Hunters are powerful agents, and they're capable of pushing back even the most powerful ethereals that are sitting in the outer wall. And Miyabi is the first playable Void Hunter, and she's bringing along a unique Frost element that combos well with all other elements in the game, including Ice. Miyabi also delivers high DPS while working with a multitude of teams, making her easy to build as a free-to-play or allowing extreme damage builds at the end game. She's easy to play while having strong combo potential. It's no wonder that she has all the ZZZ fans crazed.
Lady Miyabi, please step on me.
Now let's take a look at some of the animations of Miyabi as well as her skills. She's got that cool Shrine Maiden influence, which I think is nice. She's got the long ears, the katana, and she's got a lot of the old like Japanese samurai style influence in her overall design. You can see a lot of it here, especially in these animations on the skills page. Now I would like to get in depth with some of her skills. Now normally I would just kind of go through this core skill and read it to you, but there's a lot to it, so instead I think it's a little bit easier to break each part of this down individually. First off, we're going to start with some elements of the core skill. Now when Hoshimi Miyabi uses her special attack and other skills, she deals unique frost damage, which is similar to ice but also different. It's its own element. You could think of it as better ice or medium level ice. She also applies a state called ice fire on the target. This makes her crit rate increase frost anomaly buildup up to 80%, which is significant. When you max out frost anomaly the same way that you would max out any other anomaly, the target will be inflicted with a state called frostbite, which again is very similar to freeze. Now when you break the frostbite, whether it's through Miyabi skills or through anomaly, 1500% of Miyabi's attack will be inflicted directly on the target. In game, this is called Frostburn, and for the short window while they're in this Frostburn state, anomaly buildup will increase by 20% for all agents against the target, making it even easier to trigger high damage disorders and start the chain all over again. Now, while using Miyabi's EX moves, applying Frostbite, having other members trigger disorder, and more, she will build her special resource, Fallen Frost. Once you have this built up, you gain access to a charge attack with 3 levels called Shimotsuki Stance. Each level of the charge requires 2 stacks, with the max level being an extremely damaging full screen move and great to utilize whenever you want, but especially after your super or while the enemy is downed. Now her EX special attack Hisetsu also has a second part that you can enable when you're high on meter, and that second part will give another stack or another 2 stacks of the Fallen Frost, adding up to 4 stacks in total that you can get for a double usage of EX. In this clip, I show that you can get more than the total 4 stacks by hitting an anomaly as well, making this a versatile way to build stacks quickly. Her super Lingering Snow deals ridiculous damage and frost anomaly buildup, while also increasing her overall damage by 30% for 12 seconds. It gives her 3 stacks of Fallen Frost, making it easy to make it to the max stack limit for a full Shimotsuki Stance follow-up, shredding enemies and setting up her teammates to join in on the stun and disorder fun. Another great thing about this is that the new change is coming very soon where every character gets to use their ultimate. That means that during the downed window, you could do this, you could cash out, and then you could also pass on to another ice character or something like that if you wanted to, or another damage dealer in general, and just keep that combo going and try to build even more Fallen Frost stacks for her. Because Frost is a unique element, as I mentioned a bit ago, it combos with all other elements. But it's also treated as ice for the sake of boosts, meaning anyone who's good at boosting ice or adding ice debuff will also work with her, such as Lighter, Sokaku, and Lycan. Alright, now I know some people like to see the hard damage numbers, so these are the skills at level 12. I'm going to be starting with the basic attack and working my way through them, but not talking about each individual number, just talking about the ones that are notable to me. The first one that's very notable, of course, is the level 3 charge Shimotsuki stance, which does 4,200% damage, which is freaking crazy. I can't believe that's a real number. Then we also have the dodge attack. You can see what that does there with the damage and the daze. You've got your assist attacks. A little bit of daze there. Her sister follow-up is not too bad on the daze. These are decent. You got the EX move. This one's pretty good for the damage overall, as you can see. The follow-up has almost 1,000% damage multiplier, and the first part is not too bad itself as far as damage goes. And then finally the super, which also does a grip of damage. But notice that the damage and daze of this, although it's really good for build-up and for giving you stacks and everything else, notice that this is almost the same damage as the charge basic attack, which should really tell you something about how good this charge basic attack is and how you should really try to use the Shimotsuki as much as you can in your combos and your attacks and everything else. Another cool thing in Miyabi's kit is that the 5th hit of her basic attack, which is this one here, has a parry baked into it. I'll show you an example of what this looks like. It's a little tricky to time it against the enemy, but it is very useful to have alongside everything else that she's already doing. Now, while you're still building up Miyabi and getting her skills leveled up, I recommend that you prioritize the basic attack, core skill, and chain attack, as these are your main sources of damage. Now, I'm going to show you some example teams that you can use with Miyabi. This one is a very high-end meta comp. It's one of the most damaging teams, or maybe it's going to be the most damaging team in the game. And this team is Miyabi, Yanagi, and Caesar. One of the signature combos of this team will let you fully charge Shimotsuki twice. Start with Miyabi super for the damage and 3 stacks. Combo to both parts of her EX move, then charge up Shimotsuki. Tag to Yanagi after releasing, and trigger Disorder with the EX for 2 stacks. Miyabi will complete her charge during this for another 4 stacks. Now you can tag her back in to do it all again, while having opportunity to also utilize Yanagi's super. Now, notably, you can take that exact same comp that I just showed you, and instead of Caesar, you can also throw Rina in there. This is also a very powerful comp, and it's very dependent on ignoring the enemy's defense too, which makes it quite nice. Rina also provides a great quick assist for Miyabi, making it even easier to get that full slash charge in there before going ham. Now, Lucy and Miyabi together are going to enable a few different teams. The first one that I'll show you is Lucy, Miyabi, and Lighter together. This is a very fun and powerful comp with a hyper double buff focus on making Miyabi do the most possible damage output. Lighter especially contributes with some great stun alongside the amazing buffs he has, and some solid damage too. Now, here's another example of what I mean about Miyabi being very flexible in the teams that she can be in. Here I have a situation where in Shiyu defense, I'm trying to split my teams up and get all the units to be as optimal as possible. So here we have Lucy together with Miyabi and Bernice. As you can see, this is a comp capable of tremendous offensive damage on the back of all the great procs that you get working together with Bernice and her off-field damage, and she can also contribute some really good stacks to Miyabi too by using her flamethrowers, especially the fully charged EX flamethrower. Now, this last team that I want to talk about is what I want to call the free-to-play / low spend / just throw anybody in there special. And there's a lot of variations of this team that work, but the idea behind it is that you take your free Sokaku that you get in the game, you take your Miyabi that congratulations you got lucky on and you pulled, and the third character that you put in this flex slot is anybody that's just going to help make the team work a little bit better. Lycan is very good in this example because he's got a little bit of ice debuff in his kit, and he's also very good at stunning enemies, so he's good at working together with the two of them. But I'm going to show you some other examples of characters, and some of these even surprised me that work in this team. The first one is Harumasa, and I want to call this the ultimate free-to-play Miyabi comp. As you guys already know, we are going to be getting a free Harumasa soon, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about some of the things that he can do. But guess what? He slots immediately into this team with Sokaku. That makes this a very inexpensive team to create overall if you got lucky and pulled Miyabi during the event. If you pulled Ellen during the first banner and you've been using that old Lycan Sokaku Ellen team, well, guess what? Miyabi slots in here real nice to take over for that Lycan slot. This one surprised me a bit, and it's actually a great team because of Jane Doe's ability to put on lots of very quick anomaly procs, but it's Sokaku, Miyabi, and Jane Doe together. This type of team can even work if you don't get all of the buffs. In this example, this is a team that works really well with Seth, where Sokaku and Seth both are buffing up Miyabi. Seth is not getting the full tools of his kit, but he's still able to do his job pretty optimally. Alright, so next up I want to talk to you about some of her W engine options. The first one is Hailstorm Shrine, and this one does everything that she wants to do. It's her signature engine, so of course it's perfect for her. It gives 24% crit rate, helping you meet the 80% crit rate threshold. It also gives you a grip of crit damage and increases your overall ice damage up to 40% after using your double EX move. Very powerful W engine. Now if you don't have this one, I'm going to give you some alternatives based on your account. Unfortunately, the pickings get pretty slim, but if you happen to be taking Cannon Rotor on the Season Pass, or even if you just have one copy of the Cannon Rotor, it's actually not bad here. She won't get the extra effects, but at least she'll get the base attack and the crit rate, which are two of the most important stats for her. I'm not sure why you'd have this just sitting around and not being used actively by Ellen, but if you happen to have Ellen's Deep Sea Visitor or an extra copy of the Deep Sea Visitor and not Ellen herself, this is also not a bad weapon here, although again, unfortunately, she cannot get the extra effects because she's not an attack agent. Now, I happen to notice while looking through this list that there's a new A-rank engine called Mercado Desire. I'm not really sure what the conditions are yet for us getting this engine, and it is also another attack specialty engine. That being said, it has two of the main stats she cares about, which is base attack and crit rate. Now, you could also give her an anomaly weapon. There's many choices, including Weeping Gemini is the most popular. Just keep in mind that although anomaly proficiency will increase some of her damage, that you really want to be hitting crit rate and attack stats because you want to have that good overall mix of everything together. But if you got no choice, go for the anomaly proficiency and find that crit rate in other places. It's still going to help you do solid damage. Now, this is just to show you visually what I mean about the Weeping Gemini. We have it built here and maxed out, but what's going to happen that makes it pretty tricky, and which is why I say try going for one of the crit rate engines instead, is because if you don't have a lot of crit rate substats, like here on these items that I threw on here, they only have so many. If you don't have a lot of crit rate substats, what will end up happening is that your crit rate will be quite a bit below that threshold, and then you're going to have to make up for it in another way. So even though you're going to have a high anomaly proficiency, you're going to have to make up for that by, doing things like going for crit rate main when you could be going for the crit damage main, or trying to put anomaly mastery in your 6th slot because you're not building anomaly fast enough. And it's not as flexible as just putting something that has attack and crit rate in that slot. Now, she's also got a new set of discs that you can check out. This is called the Branch and Blade Song, and I don't really know too much about it, but the 2-piece set gives crit damage 16%. And the 4-piece says when anomaly mastery goes past 115 points, you get an extra 30% crit damage. Also, whenever you use freeze or shatter, the equipper gets more crit rate too, and it lasts for 15 seconds. These are all effects that are really important to Miyabi because you're really trying to get past that 80% crit rate threshold so that she gets the most anomaly mastery and anomaly buildup during her attacks. The 2-piece that goes alongside this can be anything that just helps up her main stats. Woodpecker Electro is a pretty good one because it has the 8% crit rate baked into the kit. Now for slot 4, 5, and 6, I have some recommendations. Slot 4, you can go for crit rate, but if you have over 80% crit rate with your items and everything else, your buffs, then you can lean back on that a little bit and go for the crit damage. Now in the slot 5, you want either ice damage percentage, which is pretty good, or attack percentage. Honestly, attack percentage is not really that far past the ice damage percentage, and attack percentage is going to help her work together in more teams. I believe if you have this attack percentage, she's going to do a little bit more damage together with Lighter, and she's also going to do a little bit more damage if you have a high rank, a C4 or C6 Anton that you're teaming with her. Then this is another place where this will do a little bit more damage as attack percentage. Now the last one, the slot 6, the recommendations are, generally it looks like the best stat in this slot is attack percentage depending on what you're doing. Now, I did mention the two-piece Woodpecker Electro, but when you're getting very high on those crit rate percentages, when you're finally hitting that 80% crit rate and you're ready to dial this back, another good one that you can put here is Frost Metal for an extra 10% ice damage. Excuse me, Polar Metal for a 10% ice damage. Or, you know, just go for something else. Swap this to crit damage maybe instead of crit rate. Something like that, just so you can do even more damage. Coming up, we got to talk about Miyabi's Mindscape Cinemas and how powerful they are, as well as which ones you could go for. Now, the Mindscape Cinema 1, I can absolutely recommend. It has two parts to it. The first part says that while she's in Shimotsuki stance, basically if you go for a full charge, you will shred 36% of the enemy's defense. On top of that, when a level 3 charge Shimotsuki hits an enemy, it will remove Frostburn if they have it and give yet another 20% Anami buildup to the entire team for 10 seconds. This is going to allow you a lot more opportunities to land the Frostburn break, making Miyabi's loop smoother and even more damaging. Mindscape Cinema 2 is another one that I can highly recommend. It increases your basic attack damage and dodge counter damage by 30%. You get 1 stack of Fallen Frost when you land your final basic attack, which you want to go for anyway because it also has the built-in parry. And when you're entering the battlefield, you get 6 stacks of Fallen Frost, which means that right away you can do the full charge attack. You also get an extra 15% crit rate, which makes it so much easier to hit that 80% crit rate threshold and start building even better stuff into your disc, whether you want the crit damage or the Anami proficiency or anything else that's going to help you exponentially increase your overall damage. Mindscape 4 is not as crazy as the first two Mindscapes, but it still adds significantly to your damage, making Frostburn Break do 30% more, and whenever you trigger Frostburn Break, you instantly get 25% of a super 250 decibels. Okay, so now we got the craziest one, and this is the Mindscape Cinema 6. This one, it's got a lot of text to it. It basically means, though, that Shimotsuki stance does 30% more damage, and each step of the Shimotsuki stance does an attack. So if you use all 6 stacks, it becomes a 3-part attack, just like you see here in this clip, which makes it do tremendous damage, and it makes it really quite worth it. So if you want to give yourself a Christmas present and go for something really crazy, going for the Miyabi Cinema 6, this thing is freaking insane. I can't believe this is real. This makes me think a lot of the Yanagi Cinema 6, which is also a really crazy extension to her EX. But this is not an EX move. She can just do this if you get the Cinema 6, which is for real out of this world. Let's talk about some places where you might want to use Miyabi, as well as places where she's good. Well, guess what? She's good pretty much anywhere because she's a great damage dealer that slots into multiple different teams. But especially one mode that you're going to use her in is this new mode known as Deadly Assault, which is going to be here at the Outpost alongside Shield Defense and the Hollow Zero stuff that you're used to. This mode looks pretty unique and it's got a few different things to it. First of all, you got a points limit, which is based on how you attack the enemy, and you also have buffs that you can give to your squad. Now, one thing that's really important is that each particular team can only fight one time, and there's 3 missions per stage or per floor of this. I don't really know how many floors it's gonna have in total, but it's looking like an extremely fun mode that's gonna really test your squads. And there's also some new enemies that you're gonna encounter in this that I can't show you yet, but that you're gonna really enjoy fighting against too. This is a fun little high level thing that they've thrown in the game. I'm extremely excited for it, and I hope you guys also are. Alright guys, this is going to be it for my guide. I will be talking to you very soon as well about Harumasa, as well as maybe some of the things that you're going to be seeing in the upcoming patch when both these characters come out. Look forward to my Harumasa video soon, and if you have any more questions about Miyabi, or if you need a further explanation about anything that I've talked about in this video, then please drop a like and throw something in the comments. I'll be happy to respond to you. Have a beautiful day everybody, and I'll see you all later. Good luck with pulling Miyabi. I hope you get her.